I figured it out. All right. Live from StreamYard. It's a full moon night. I got my trusty Oracle deck here. I'm just going to close the door for a sec. Get some background noise. Oh, shit. All right. I guess nothing else is going on, so give it a minute or two. If anyone wants to pop up, present or invite. What does that mean? Let's see here now. I think I can add the link. All right. Pop up if you want. I think I got a couple hours of welcome to my live stream. Still kind of learning how to figure this out. Anyways, it's a full moon. It is actually supposed to be full moon, eclipse, and northern lights tonight. So I thought, why not hit the map? The veil is thin. If anyone has any burning questions, feel free to hit me up. If not, I can just ask silly things about whatever's going on, or you guys can come up here and talk about whatever the hell you want. How about that? I don't know. We'll just see. 5 people watching. This is my second StreamYard. I don't have an intro or anything. Boom! It's happening. It's happening. It's happening. So, can you hear me, first of all? I'm pretty sure you can see me. I'm green, and I look like I'm in the mist, but I am not. I'm reading the chat. I thought so. Yeah. I see you, Ryan. Can you see the link to get on? You're more than welcome to join me. I don't know how to pin stuff yet. Appeal to your senses. Are you a flat earther? I'll guarantee you this, my friend. That's how it presents itself. That's how it presents itself, rather. And I don't like labels, but I'm pretty sure we are not hurtling into the endless vacuum of space on a ball. To say it simply, I suppose. I think it's a very magical realm that we live in. I think that if ever you want to I think you're going to see it the way you want to see it, right? But I honestly think at the end of the day, the psychology behind what they tell us where we are feels fabricated and pushed. So if everything presents as flat, then I made a joke the other day. It could just be a giant skate park, right? We're like not allowed to go to the cool ramps on the sides. I don't know. I doubt it. You know, biblically and ancient cosmology would dictate that it is flat ski. So, no, you're not late. Soups. Welcome. Chris. Oh, I got a friend. Add to stage. Boom.
How's my mic?
You're great. That sounds fabulous.
Okay. I'm trying to set this back up again.
Yeah, it's a baffling mystery to me.
I just installed Ubuntu 26 from 24, so I'm trying to reinstall like log in everything. I gotta add my avatar back.
Oh, all right. Well, I will invite guest, copy, and I'll just put it in here again because I don't know how to pin things. So if you need a link, hit me up. I'll drop it in. Just like that. All right. Well, that was short and sweet. Chris actually was one of the first people on YouTube that I have consulted the oracle cards for. So if you are, it's easy breezy, guys. Honestly, I'm trying to fill the void here on a Thursday night. Not a lot going on. Maybe Roger will go on at some point. Um, there you go. He's back. Back in the New York groove. There we go.
Okay. I had to add. I had to log back in. I got it.
Nice. Yeah. There, everything looks normal. And we've got love in the chat and soups and appeal to your senses. That is exactly what I try to do every time. So I did a reading for on YouTube. For years, I have consulted the cards for friends and family and whatnot. But I thought, why not? Why not? It's a full moon and an eclipse, right?
I will be back in 1 minute.
Ah, you're killing me. Okay. You try to have a decent conversation these days. All right. Well, let's get to it. What do I have tonight? I have, funny enough, this deck I got before I even knew what the heck was going on. It is called the Enchanted Map Oracle card deck. So it's not tarot, it's oracle cards. It's something, generally speaking, that loose cannons like myself will consult to confirm or not confirm. I mean, you take it or you leave it, right? It's I think it's like an intuition guide, an intuition confirmer. I don't know. Soaps.
What up?
I see. Oh shit. All right. I am on a very rudimentary laptop, so Mr. Bird. Hey, Ryan, I'm not going to debate this with you, okay? I will say that, there's a lot of things that would state that one love is one consciousness. We are all one. I have a firm belief that anything that I require knowledge wise will come to me, and it's because of that faith and that belief. So, Mr. Bird, welcome. I don't know, guys. I don't know if my laptop is too ancient. I feel like I'm the only one talking. I see Chris is muted. I can't hear Soups. So if someone in the chat
I'm
could
here.
tell me
Can
at
you
least
not?
if they. Oh, you are.
Can you not hear me?
God, keep. I'm trying to blither away. Oh, welcome. That's awesome. I have never ever.
No, I
done
came in and said,
this.
"What up?" I thought you heard me, and then, well, I don't know, man. Technology has been so freaking weird these last few days. It's unreal.
Well, the veil is thin. We have a full
True
moon and
story.
an eclipse. The northern lights are happening tonight as well. So I thought, why the heck not? If I'm assuming that if
Oh
anyone in the
boy.
chat at any time, audio or Lev, we will wait right here for you, sir. If audio goes or video goes, just someone in the chat let me know if you'd be so kind. Other than that, I feel really weird because I've never done this before. So, yay. Friends on screen.
Yeah. So expect the unexpected.
Well, that could be said. I did not expect to do this. So, it's a pleasure and a surprise to be here. It's a pleasure and a surprise to have you guys here. I didn't schedule it or promote it or anything. It was super last minute.
So cool. It looks like you are in a green fog.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm
Like
actually in a
the
turquoise
pieces.
room. It's just low lighting. I don't know. What are you gonna do? I know. Sicko. Seems fitting. But yeah, as I was
Yes,
saying,
it does.
I do have I use, generally speaking, my enchanted map deck. It's my go-to for, scanning the ether for information. I do have, just for shits and giggles here, tarot for idiots, and generally I would be inclined to use this for, because I don't ever use tarot cards. I'm not familiar with the lore and the, houses and cups and swords. I don't really know offhand what any of it means. So, but this is a learner deck and it has yes or no on it. So I thought if anyone just had a, rip roaring good yes or no question they wanted to hit me with, I could just, test this out. But other than that, I would even go so far as to entertain questions about, outward in the world. If anyone had a question about something that was happening in the world or an event or, confirmation of something, I would go so far as to do that too. So, having said that, how are you doing, Soups?
Oh, I've kind of like I've been shown or seen so many things supernaturally that like I don't have words for. Like our language is so limited, and I don't like not being able to define things when I want to recall them. So I make up my own names for things. Like there's no what else do you do, right? When you're shown something that you don't have a word for, do you make up a word for it? I do,
I make up words
right?
all the time. If I was eating something right now, I'd be doing a snacktivity.
Snacktivity. See, there you go.
Right? So yeah. What so I
So
mean
I've
we
come up with like one of them. Like I think our souls were all together at one point, and then like divided up and whisked away and sorted and however this came to be. But when we were all together, I had no name for that. I just like I referred to that as the great ocean. And it wasn't until recently, like I've never looked into Gnosticism at all, but I stumbled across a few videos and kind of dug deep into them, and they actually do have a word for many of the things that I've defined, and the one that they have for the great ocean is called the pluronium.
the
Have you heard that
plural.
before?
Did you say like plur as in plural or blur as in like
Yes, yes. Plur as in plural, pluronium, when we were all together in one great mass like an ocean.
so when we're not here or while we're here and when we're not here?
I think before we came here, before this beginning.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Because
down
I've
with
never
that.
taken the Bible at face value, like the very first line in the Bible, in the beginning. I've never believed that to be true. So in my mind, while I respect the messages and the lessons in the Bible, I've always thought like right from the get that was to let us know that it's not exactly accurate. Like I don't want to call it an outright lie, but like in the beginning, there was many things before that beginning. So that was not the beginning. That was a beginning, our beginning here. in this experience, but it wasn't the beginning.
I mean, you could describe it as a cycle
We
too,
think,
right?
yeah, everything is cyclic, right?
Like the snake eating its tail.
Well, God's eternal, and it's the beginning of our whole existence. Everything that we see, and I guess it's more magical or more beautiful than just the physical that we see. There's a whole spiritual realm to this whole thing, and afterlife, and God's amazing, and
Chris,
created a
really
lot.
don't even think this was like our beginning. It was like the beginning of our story here. It wasn't even our beginning. We existed before this place. God existed before this place. The men of renown existed before this place. The deep existed before this place. There's so many things.
Well, God's eternal. I mean, we're mortal.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. It's like we live like I'm 42 years old right now. I don't know nothing, man. Like compared to God, who is eternal, who has, it's hard to even fathom how almighty what
I
he
think
is.
I think that is the mark of wisdom is when you realize how little you know, really.
We don't even know what we don't know. It's that deep. Just want to say hi to Skeptic and Lev. I did not see you there, sir. Welcome.
Hello, how are we doing?
What's up?
So it should be fair to say that, I mean, I don't know. I do better. I feel less better about concluding, like, this is definitely that. I feel a lot easier to say, I'm pretty sure, this is not that. Like, when I think of this life here on earth, I'm pretty sure that this isn't it. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there was before and there will be after. So I tend not to conclude. And maybe that is why I'm allowed to know things sometimes knowingly, because I don't come to conclusions. I just am highly open to what potential could be, right? But Scoops, what kind of, like, again, it's full moon, eclipse. I mean, we should all be outside taking pictures, but it's been a
I
long
just walked out and looked at it. It's eclipsing from the bottom left right now. It's like 25% probably eclipsed.
bottom left.
Bottom left, yeah.
Interesting. Last one I caught was a bottom righter. Cool. I'll have to, once my battery gets charged a bit, maybe I'll take this thing for a tour. But yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty magical neighborhood. I've had some really strange things. Soups, you were saying you had some strange experiences available to you in your perception.
Who? Me?
Sorry, Soups.
Oh.
Mr. Super.
I mean, I personally had revelation this at the end of last year. I don't know if you ever heard it.
Go for
But
it.
I was in my shower. This is like a series of it was like two parts to it. Like the first part was like a lesson or going through things that was confusing, but the second part was revelation. I was in there in my shower, home alone, crying to the Lord, and then all of a sudden, pow! Like right behind my foot in the shower. I was kind of looking down. We got just like a flash of light, and a pow went off. I was like, "This is God!" Like it freaked me out. Like it was the second time that. Oh man, it's so confusing. But the second time was like revelation, really, literally. Like, yeah, I went through this like last November. And now I just devoted myself to the Bible.
What do you
learning
think?
as much as I can about it.
What was the relevance of that to you at the time, Chris?
The relevance, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it all out. All I know is I've just dove into the Bible, and everything in the Bible to me is the absolute truth. Every time I'm reading through it, it's just amazing to me reading through it now.
Okay, well, so it was just like a profound moment of
Like I don't know if you know the story of Paul, but he was like persecuting Christians and things, and he was a Pharisee, and he was on his way to Damascus, and then a big flash of light like blinded him for 3 days. But and then Jesus spoke out and said, "Hey, this is me, Jesus. Why you persecute?" I never heard any voices or anything. It was just that flashlight in the bang, the pow, the clap. Well, I don't know what it is. It's just like pow, freaked me out. That's it. There was no voices, nothing telling me anything. It was just that. But I'd already went through. Like I thought I was getting shot at the first time a couple of months before. There was a big pow, like went off. When I was in my garage, I thought I was being shot at. But then I went through all these things, like all these weird things is going on, and I didn't understand it all. But I left no doubt in my mind when I'm home alone by myself in my shower crying, because at this point I've already realized like God created everything, and then I was like, he could read my mind too. So even if I wanted to hide anything from him, I couldn't. And it was like me coming to terms with that. Well, that same night, that happened. And it left no doubt that that's God. It happened.
Good time limiting it to that, and leaving it open to that at the same time. Swami, welcome, Swami. Rahu is. I'm going to read the comments on my phone because it's much easier. Rahu has covered roughly half the moon at the moment. Interesting. That is I guess this is our full moon update. Swami. That's cool. So for example, is this God? I've told this story, I think, maybe on Rogers, like once late at night or whatever, but I had a friend who I was up there every day of my life, hanging out, playing guitar, singing, having some fun, whatever. And for whatever reason, we just kind of went separate ways. And I hadn't been up to visit her in probably close to a year. And I was invited up. And generally speaking, when I would go there, I would just, da 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 da, and then walk in, hey, But I thought, well, it's been a while, so I'm going to, knock and wait to be received. But it was the middle of winter, okay? And I had walked down about 5 steps, and I was standing in this little cubby, right? Like to go into the basement of this house. And so there's no answer, and I'm waiting. And I thought, well, at the time I smoked cigarettes, I thought to myself in that moment, well, why don't you just light up a dart and see what? And then I got that far, I swear to God, no pun intended. Halfway through that thought in my own head, I heard my own voice, but not my own voice, if that makes sense, say, just go in. And I went, okay. So I just opened the door, pushed it open, walked in, immediately flung it shut. And as it was shutting, about 400 pounds of chunky roof ice let go and smashed right where I was standing. And because of the nature of being in that small space, if I'd not gone in, I would not be here today speaking with you. So, like, what does that mean? Is that God? Some people say, you
Um,
know, I'm hearing, I'm in dabbling in the dark arts because I have a connection to what I just refer to as spirit, um, as a loose generalization. I have my own personal relationship with my creator, who I believe is almighty and benevolent. But in that moment, like, what's doing that? That's the kind of stuff. That's a mild one, guys. Like, that's a mild experience that I've had in this arena. So what is
You
that?
believe,
yeah,
you believe in your spirit
God,
guides as well?
God
Is that
works in all kinds of ways, in there are all sorts of ways. I can't speak personally like on that. I do know that there are demonic like things in the world that possesses people, so they could steer you away from God. I know this is like not the question you were asking, but you also got to be careful because like they can make you think things like they will masquerade like that Satan he just sees a masquerade as God. So make you think you're hearing stuff like it might be an angel, but if it were actual angels, it's over and over again. Um, it's a situation where you'll know if it's from God, and they'll say something like, "Don't be afraid," like, and then, but things like if you're hearing noises, voices, I would say be careful of that. Your situation there, I don't know. I could be God.
Well, what's the distinction? You know what I mean? What's the if we are all connected to our creator, then you know, I don't know. Again, see, this is the trouble I get into when I try to hone in on things. So, um, Lev, what were you gonna say, mate?
Like you got spirit guides, haven't you? And so you've got spirit, haven't you? Essentially, you know, what I mean, we're all connected to spirit, so it could easily be spirit like communicating with you, like using like your own like higher conscience, because he said it with like your own voice. So you do have it like that. That could be even yourself rather than even a spirit guide. You know what I mean? So your higher conscience could come through to you and say like, it's walk. You know what I mean? And stuff like.
There's large speculation that we have one foot in the puddle and one foot in the lake, right? Or the ocean, as
Mhm.
Mr. Super says.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that ocean's really cool because I've got like loads of my episodes where that features like how we are the sun and that's where we come from and that's like the like an ocean of consciousness basically. And there's like loads of
That's it.
things
That's
in
what I
nature
mean.
which show it. You need to see some of them episodes, Mr. Super. They're awesome. You'll like them and stuff like. But I mean, like what Chris was saying in terms of like masquerading and like devils portraying as like family members and all these kind of things and spirit guides and such. See, I see that as like propaganda from the Bible to prevent you from connecting to spirit. And it's like, it's kind of like, I mean, you look at the fruits that the Bible
Well,
produces, and it's like the Bible wants to
well
destroy this world. It wants to destroy all
uh,
nature. It
I
wants
want
to
to
replace
clarify.
it. And the only thing it wants to
Okay,
replace nature with, other than technology,
I want to clarify. Like, basically, Satan and a third of the angels were cast out of heaven,
yeah.
and basically
The
his
Trinity.
days are numbered.
The Trinity. Yeah,
So what
it's the
he's going
Trinity.
to try to do is take everybody down with him. He's going to turn as many people away from God as he can, because what we're
That's
supposed to be doing is serving
that's
God,
what
our
the
Creator.
Bible's doing.
But
The,
he's going
the
to
Bible,
masquerade and deceive
G,
you,
Jesus doesn't
and
reveal
and
himself until the end times. He's the one that masquerades, as because it's like if he's giving a false persona today, and he don't give his real persona until the end times when it's too late, when it's destroyed everything in the world, and it's releasing the fallen angels. and all those that he decides aren't going to be saved experience the second death. At that point, because he's cut the silver cord to spirit, they can't reincarnate. So when they perform the second death, they die, fully die. They won't reincarnate ever again. That's like ultimate death. And, this is what that God promises. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like when you compare, right? When you look at spiritual people and they talk about like connected to spirit, and all these Christians are very against it and accuse it of being demonic and stuff. Like astral projection. Like when I went on classes overnight, and like the reference of astral projection is like all this demon stuff. They also mentioned tarot cards in the same sense of astral projection, right? That's you have to go inward, right, to get to the middle kingdom. So this is the middle kingdom. This is where spirit resides, basically. You know what I mean? It's all the astral planes all together and stuff, like including it, and it's gonna like that's very sacred. And for Christianity to demonize that and at the same time burn witches and boast the pillars of blood, fire, and smoke, because that's exactly what it is. It's not a parable; it's literal, and it's quite horrific. In the comparison, to say that astral projects are demonic, or is burning witches demonic? Because they're not actual evil people either. They're just like people
Well,
which knew how
burning
to use
witches
it.
or whatever, they're not real Christians if they're claiming to be.
No. Hang on. Because I thought you were on about the witches. Sorry, but like in terms of like the witches and stuff, like they weren't evil people, because they knew how to you use the land and nature, and it's like this God of Christianity cannot stand nature. That's why they were murdered, and then it was replaced with pharmaceutical industry. And when you compare it with government are pushing the end times in news all the time with United Nations. They're offering the olive branch just like Christ does, or the Abraham aspect of things.
Well, what the Bible is promising eternal life, and that is, and
No,
the way to
it
do that
promises
is to align
eternal
yourself,
life.
serve God.
It
And
promises
if you
to make your
separate
flesh
yourself away
immortal.
from God,
It promises to make your
what?
flesh immortal. Your soul's immortal anyway. Everybody's soul's immortal, right? That's why when Jesus resurrects you, that's necromancy. He's raising you from the dead, right? Which means now you're undead. He calls himself the Lord of the dead and the living, right? And if you're dead and living, that means that you're undead. If he resurrects you and he makes your flesh immortal, that means that you're undead. If he's planning to destroy this world, then why are we putting his faith into this God? He's going to destroy everything. He's going to fill the ocean with blood. And it's like, how disgusting is that? You know what I mean? When you compare it in terms of like, the blood god, you know what I mean? And stuff like that kind of thing. And it's kind of like, well, that's exactly what they're showing us.
Well, let me ask you: is it justified for the punishment for sin to be death? When Adam and Eve sinned and they got the punishment of death, is that morally justified?
Chris,
Sorry?
please, I don't mean to interrupt. I want, but I'm going to, because it's my show and I can. First and foremost, I would never pull a card like sneakily for someone, but on the subject of what you lads were just talking about publicly, I took the liberty of doing that. Okay. And Lev, you were talking about spirit. Okay. This card is called the Spirit of Place. Funny that. Isn't that kind of what we're discussing right now? But also, it was reversed. So, if you'll allow me, because I think it's pertinent. When you read this card reversed, it has its own meaning, and that is, if I may, don't get entangled in details or desires that obscure the truth of your situation. Step back and ask yourself, what is the real nature of my inquiry? Even exquisitely seductive hidden agendas, wink, wink, cannot conceal this. Okay. Um, and I think that's, what you were saying. Like, I am not here to step on Christianity or the Bible. I highly respect it as honored, divine scripture, okay? But I know there's portions of groups that use that against people, like you were saying, to keep people from connecting to spirit, okay? But when you are guided by your intuition, even the most heinous effort to do just that can't. So this is the kind of stuff I'm doing. I hope you guys don't mind if I just whip out a card if I'm moved to do that. And
No, whip it out right here online.
So you can always distinguish between an essence that is true and one that is synthetic. So I think that answers, that's touching on, like, how do you know where it's coming from, right? I think, again, you have to go inward and look. Like, Chris, to you, in that revelation, it was God, and ta-da, that is what your intuition is telling me. My intuition didn't label it as an entity. My intuition said, you better open that door and get the fuck in. You could trust this voice. Go. And henceforth I did. Maybe we'll just keep that in mind without, beating a dead horse here into the nitty-gritty and fine-tooth combing. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm a little bit
Does to me.
humble when it comes to my interview skills. I used to be a radio DJ. Did you guys know that? I used to interview people about music, but this is kind of new to me. So
No.
I'm just doing that.
Cool.
Unless anyone's object to it. If that makes sense, I'll keep pulling cards when the time comes. But Chris, I did interrupt you. You did have an inquiry of your own. I hope you can still touch on it for everyone.
No, he was just starting to get on how bad God is, and he's justifying what's morally correct or not. And I'm trying to tell him that God is what makes the moral standards, not us. Otherwise, there is no morals. We're all
kind of corrected in a sense of like, I'm not like making things up. I'm telling you what's actually in the Bible, and it's like that's what the plans are to like end the world and create a new one. Are you disagreeing? Because that's what it says in the Bible.
I think you're way off when it comes to the Bible. I don't think you've ever read it, or you don't know anything about it except for some YouTube videos.
Jesus resurrects the dead. It makes your flesh immortal. What am I saying that's wrong?
I mean, I have experience where people rely solely, they'll memorize the entire Bible and quote it in their own perspective of what they're reading, but more often than not through the teachings of a local pastor or a family member or, a local church. And I'm sorry, and I mean it with all due respect. Christianity is predated by, at most as far back as, the Bhagavad Gita's, the Vedantic, scripture, the Vedas. This predates Hinduism, and a lot of the stuff in those philosophies, they're not even religions. A lot of those philosophies still will align with biblical scripture, So I don't think we should be relying on just the Bible in the sake of argument. Like, I love you guys. This is not what that is about tonight. There's a lot of wars fought over words, and I wanted to, bring some light and just, have a little peek through the veil and see what we can find. If anyone wants insight without answers, like that's kind of where I'm coming from. I don't know if, like, I feel like honored to have you guys here, and I would vote on it. Like, if that sounds reasonable, maybe we can just kind of keep it friendly fire when it comes to defending literature. I don't know.
I agree. We don't have to talk about religion. No, this is just stemming
because we all have a lot more
because
questions than we have answers.
This is just stemming because Lev came on Flatzoid's channel when I was on his panel, and then Lev made a few part series to to when he was on or whatever. Because
Well,
yeah. So, anyways, we can move on from that and talk about anything else. That's cool with me.
Yeah, I don't want to. There's so much battling that goes on about scripture and, what it means. And I just, there's so much more than just scripture. Once you learn about other religions and, other pieces of literature, it's just, you see so many patterns. So instead of just delving into the details, we're again, go to your spirit of place and take what you can from your own intuition. You can see the things that overlap. We can all agree that as a guideline, it's best to not hurt other people. It's best to not take things from other people. The four agreements, they say to be impeccable with your thoughts, impeccable with your words. Don't take things personally, which is like the yoga theory. We're nothing. This is temporary, right? We're going to suffer here. We should do it well. And the fourth one being always do your best, right? Those are like 6 things that I kind of keep floating around with me to try and guide me. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to create a loss for anyone. I always want to try my best. I always want to be careful with my words. I always want to be careful with what I'm thinking, because I think that's where you can get into a lot of trouble. Someone can really get your goat and you can do this. And inside your head, you're murdering them sweetly 1,000 times over 1,000 deaths. Like, that's not a healthy vibe. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
but super respect. Like, I was raised Roman Catholic, so I got a lot of, again, as a 6-year-old, I was told because I wasn't baptized, I was going to hell. That's what the Bible taught my grandma. So that at a very young age, I had a problem with just taking words of other people and how they see them as, this is it, right? That's my
What
personal
an
thing.
awful burden to bear for a child to face, right? So you were stuck in this realm without any choice. I mean, a lot of people, to comfort themselves, they want to believe that they chose to be here. You chose to be here to maybe help someone else through their path or to learn something, or bullshit. Like, from my point of view, no, I was tricked or whisked away against my will. The only way I would have chosen to be here is if the only option was so much worse. Like, you can spend the next 3,000 years in this Coptic jar in this dark vault, or you can go to Earth. Nah, just stick with the jar. You know what I mean?
I think that is why you came here.
It isn't real though.
Right. And then you come here as a child and they tell you, hey, like it.
The outcome of a
You
new
were
world
stuck
order.
in this place, and now if you don't do this, you're going to go to a worse place. Man, what a burden for a child to have to carry around. This is coming from a loving creator, really.
That
I
was the
think,
best thing
from
Mama
my
could have.
personal point of view, not to bash the Bible, because I don't think that's, like, I don't want to squat on anybody else's religious beliefs, but I think we would be better off without the book. I mean, if the book was really like the guide to morality, I think it could have been written a whole lot better. If it came from the benevolent creator, I think he was a terrible author. He could have written a simple guidebook and outlined everything directly without being parables and people arguing whether it's literal or it's just a metaphor. Come on, man. A
Don't you think
20-page manual with
Sort of
specific
of the day.
instructions would have been enough, and maybe a little separate book for us empaths.
don't you think that's a clue though? This not supposed to be
What?
easy here. It's not supposed to be easy here. We're not like at Olive
Why
Garden.
muddy? Why muddy the Why muddy the water
No.
with a bunch of parables and stories like a man spending days inside of a whale? Do you think that happened, or do you think that's just a metaphor, just a cute little story to make you like believe in strange shit?
You asking me?
I can tell you why,
Well,
Sips.
anyone who wants to comment or even think about it, just think about it on your own, man. Do you think somebody
To me,
actually
the
spent
Bible is the
days
absolute
inside of a
truth.
whale, or is that just a story?
Well,
The
who
Bible
here
is the
can ride?
truth to me. That's all.
Who here can
Yeah, but
ride a
is it
bike?
literal or parable? Because if it's parable, is that always truth?
Jesus spoke in parables because it's for those that has ears to hear and eyes to see, and otherwise they'd be turned and be forgiven. So yeah, he explains that of why he speaks in parables. But go ahead.
I think this whole realm is a parable. If it was just easy, we wouldn't come here, you know? If you are eternal and you are formless, but all knowing, you know, you have, or not all knowing. I don't want to take claim over like the status of the creator. I'm saying you have access to, you know, we don't have this physical filter, you know, keeping us from all the available knowledge, right? So when we come here, like I said, it's not supposed to be easy. We all know how to ride a bike. We all like going for a bike ride in the park. But you know what my cousin does? He's a fucking maniac. He does like BMX off mountain cliffs, down hills, ramps, and hills. And the guy almost kills himself. And it's fun. Think of it.
That's what it's
If
supposed
we
to be like.
came here and it was a fucking Olive Garden, we'd get fat and go home grumpy without learning anything. You know, I think we're here to filter through and learn how to connect to our spirit of place. You know, we need to figure out and discern, you know, and get good at using our intuition, get good at using that connection. That's just me. That's what I'm going to say. I thank you for hearing me on that. I don't think it's
What about
supposed to
all
be.
the innocent lives that are snuffed out too young to have that choice, Aaron? What about those? What about the babies that are not born because people are calling them a clump of cells even after birth? Like if this was an experience where we're all supposed to be given a chance to come to certain realizations and ascend to a higher
We're,
a metaphysical state, what about those that get
we're
snuffed
under
out and don't
invasion.
really ever get that chance?
We've got the government to contend with, and they're not supposed to be here. Like you said earlier about like the God, you could have done a better job at than God and all that kind of stuff at Bible and stuff. Like in terms of like the end times, right? It's so simple to think of a better outcome, right? Uh, God comes and then removes government from world. You don't have to kill everybody. You just need to get rid of them. You know, quite a simple answer. You know what I mean? Like you say, you know, you don't take a genius to think of a better outcome. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, in terms of like God and all these kind of. There's another thing I wanted to mention as well in terms of like this topic of Christianity, and especially like with Chris and stuff, that kind of thing. It's not like an attack. It's this is my best efforts to like, you know, as a truther, to share my truth with you. And I want you to like understand my perspective on it and stuff like that kind of thing. Because like, you know, especially what, you know, what the outcomes of it all is. It's like, this is another outcome. Like, I could go to heaven, right, through that faith, right? And then there's all the people which don't go. You know what I mean? It's like they go to hell or have the second death. You know, how can I live with myself? All those people which I met, which I will never meet again. And there's, you know, do my pets go? There's no ocean in that new heaven. There's no sun. And apparently we'll fall in for eternity and we have to sing holy, holy, holy over and over again to the God
I don't know
for
why
like
we're
for like
still on this topic.
but this is, you know, I'm explaining why. That's all, right? You know what I mean? It's not like I'm not trolling or just being a dickhead or you know what I mean?
Well, heaven's a place to be with God, so you got to be aligned with Him and serving Him. It that's the gist of it. The ones that's turned away from Him aren't going to be with them.
Well, that's what the Bible's doing. It's getting you to turn away from spirit.
It's simpler than most would realize. God is love, is truth.
Spirit.
Therefore, the wrong thing to do is be a crapulent deceiver and live in fear. That would be the opposite. Okay. So, Soups, children, this is the dream. You know, I've had dreams where people I love are dying, and I wake up with a profound knowledge about, you know, my perspective of things. And I think in the dream, those people didn't really die. You know, I experienced their death or their maiming or, you know, finding, like, I've had some pretty scary dreams, you know. And I know they were meant to jar something in me, you know, that they linger into the day. You carry it with you, you know. Over a decade ago,
Sure.
I had a dream about the number 13 before I knew anything. And I was like, oh, that's spooky. Now, 13 is like a magical number, right? So I don't think those children, like, this is the dream, you know? We come here to dream a little dream. You know, when we die, we go back to our home, our original state of unified consciousness. And I think the natural love, truth, God is to expand in that. Otherwise, I mean, for lack of better terms, it'd be pretty boring, right? When you have access to all that. So when we come here, you know, there's a lot of unfair shit. And I think sometimes the people that are taken early or go horrifically agreed to it on some level, you know, because we're friends on the other side. And they're like, you know what? I will help you experience that. I will help your consciousness expand. I will help you set to rest your attachments. I will help you, you know, forgive. I will help you do all of the things that Jesus does, you know? And I don't think we could have that. Like I said, if everything was perfect, like, you know, ordering soup and salad off an Olive Garden menu, there would be nothing, you know, nothing creative about this creation. I mean, no, on a I'm alive and looking at people and touching things kind of level, I don't want to see harm come to anyone, but I do know that if I was meant to die that day, I stood at the bottom of Julia's steps, so be it, right? I think I wasn't meant to go then. I think, you know, in the grand scheme of whatever agreement, despite you saying you were tricked to come here, you know, I think on some level we agree to come here, you know? We agree to help other facets of consciousness expand and learn. And that's, you know, why the yogis say suffer well, right? Shit gets shitty. Well, you got to make the best of it. That's why people say, what would Jesus do? You know, what would Jesus do? Jesus would forgive a murderer. You know, Jesus would hold in his heart the joy that that poor little being is now with God, right? And we get so attached to things here in this physical realm, you know, and we believe that time is ticking away. I just don't think that's it. I think it's worth, you know, considering that it's backwards. But Lev, that's why it's so, you know, hammered in. Like, fuck, I got Pat. Look into Israel Anderson. You know, Yahweh. The Bible has two gods in it, brother. Yahweh is not a friend of yours. I had my own. Maybe I'll do another show about that. But look at in Israel Anderson. Look up that dude on YouTube and you watch. I think it's like something, the garden and the snake or something, and it's mind blowing the way he takes every little instance of that apart. You know, the snake is given this horrible, you know, but the snake told the truth, right? The snake was like, "Yo,
Mhm.
dude, check it out." So, like, I don't know. Again, I don't think that's maybe why God says don't say my name out loud. When you conclude that just put God in a box, that's when you just shut everything down and your learning stops, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Who has a question?
I've never heard not to say God's name out loud. Just that I have heard that you can't see God in His full glory, or you'd be destroyed. It's
Well,
about as close
he
in
says
the
to
Bible
pray
that I've read.
in the privacy of your own closet.
Destroyed. That's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Well,
Like the nature of it in that kind of way.
again, I do have some cards here. If anyone has a question that they want me to see what the cards say, if you have anything lingering, want to say hi to Saddlebum and Lord Racer. uh, he's racing his day way to a better day. um,
Nice.
if anyone has a question, this was supposed to be a full moon card reading. I don't know. Let me think. If I'll pick a one. If I see someone in the chat want to know something, like hit me up with weird. You want to know what the fuck Trump's doing? Let's find out. Ask me a question. Keep it light and breezy. The veil is thin. We shouldn't get too serious, guys.
What's the update on the eclipse? I might have to go back out. Look, I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah, awesome.
In chat, we got Sri Swami Akananda put a comment. It says, "And the Lord said, let me enter as many. And here we are. Let me enter as many." Right? So that sounds like Legion. And because they're all, you know, that's how, they sold themselves into the devil's kind of legion in that way. But, it says the Lord said, let me enter as many. So the Lord is, again, it's the same thing. It's like the Bible is the contract into that legion.
Yeah. And that's where I have to humble myself, Lev, because I'm not as familiar, with scripture as I know
I just had like
you many philosophies. I know Chris is highly adept at scripture, so I'm humble. I feel like, there's a reason I don't quote it because I don't want to disrespect it or misinterpret it or, again, conclusions frighten me. I'd rather just make sense of something, but I'm not familiar with that. I know personally Swami is a fan of the yogas and not the bendy fart ones, like the literature itself. Pebs and Sarah, yay! Good to see you, ladies. Oh shoot, and you're not mods yet. I don't know. It's tough. I didn't expect to get into, some I didn't expect to get involved too deep into the
if you watch my vampire series, right, because there's only about 50 episodes in playlist. There'll be another 8 soon. But my full series is like 250 or something like that kind of thing. Like so, that's all like a really long playlist. But that's mainly based on all showing you nature and showing you like spirit through nature, how we were created and all that kind of stuff. We've kind of gone through it before, but to watch it though, it's really good because you get to see it in you get to understand because it teaches you how to read the expression of what nature's teaching. And it's like every part of nature is teaching so much that we've overlooked for years, you know what I mean, and stuff. But the vampire series, like I said, I weren't an expert, far from an expert. You know what I mean? I've read a few pages at the beginning of like Genesis and stuff like, but um, in terms
I'm
of
back.
like I didn't know much at all, you know. I mean, well, like very general, you know what I mean. But uh, it it were at Christmas. I kind of like, you know, I kind of thought I wanted to read a novel, like an horror novel, something classical, you know what I mean, in a way. But like I kind of thought in terms of classical, like authentic, and I thought the writers might be really good in past stuff, that kind of thing. Sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. So I'm looking through things and stuff like that, werewolves, vampires, etc. That kind of theme and all that kind of stuff. Like, and vampires kind of stood out, and you know it's all about drinking blood and all these kind of things and stuff like that kind of thing. And then next thing, it like the penny just drops. It's kind of like, you know, because Jesus is all about, you know, drink his blood and you'll have eternal life and stuff like that kind of thing. And it's like, you know, I always thought it meant eternal life in spirit, but we have
I'm
that,
sorry
like
to interrupt, but it was a parable.
everybody else, that everyone's got that connection to spirit. We're all infinite. It's just as bodies which aren't. You know what I mean? We reincarnate and stuff like. But that's why Christianity don't like reincarnation, because it's an undead religion. It cuts you off from spirit. It cuts your spiritual cords, and you can't reincarnate anymore. Which is why all the souls which have given themselves over to Jesus have to wait for his return. It's like they're waiting until the end times. So it's like, you know, they're underground or on surface, maybe, I don't know. But you know, people see ghosts, don't they, and all that kind of stuff, and visit poltergeists, and it's quite scary and all that kind of thing. Like so, um, but we said it takes you through it quite easily. You know what I mean? It's like it it ties in like the flat Earth connection as well. Like our flat Earth has been released on purpose to lead us towards the New World Order, and now the Bible connects to the New World Order. So like why, you know, the olive branch were brought to Noah when they were on the boat and all that kind of stuff all those years ago is because their God punished us by cutting down all the trees. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that's really cruel. You know what I mean? If nature's sacred and stuff like that kind of thing, and spirit as an enemy, well, it looks like that was the one who was the enemy, the one that cut the trees. When we had all the giant trees, we were connected to spirit. And it's like all the Taurus fields and all these kind of things. It's like our connection, our psychic ability, and all those kind of things. It's like it would have been better than internet. You know what I mean? Because the creation series like shows a lot of what that potential is. You know what I mean, and stuff like. Um, but I don't know. We could go through it together at some point or something like that as an option. I always think, you know, that's a good idea.
I mean, I don't know that I'm a candidate for that because I don't think I can't. I wasn't there in this experience when those trees were big mama jammas. You know, it's a very
Yeah.
romantic story. You know, and
Oh, well,
like
that's
a
the
kid.
difference. If you've watched the video, you'll have seen the evidence for it, which is,
Oh,
have
for
you seen
sure.
Handman's
Well,
work?
that 100%.
Yeah.
I get it. I think this place comes with clues. I really do. But I mean, like we talk about all the cathedrals, you know, and the church organs, and you know, we just get all romanticized about it. Like, oh, it was for healing and la, la, la. What if it was for mass mind pollution? You know, like again, I don't want to get into conclusions about that tonight. I don't know. I'm trying to just honestly, I want to pull some cards. Let's do one for fun. Well, when the trees were giant in form, you know, the ones we're talking about, like Devil's Tower and all that, were we more connected to spirit? Does that sound
Yeah.
like a fair question to ask?
Because they've been cut down, that's like the forest has got brain damage, right? The brain network of what the forest is. And in turn, that's why we've got spiritual amnesia.
Yes.
I got a question for you, Lev.
Clearly, there is a
Um,
mycelium network where all these things are interconnected and communicating. It's just easy for us in a disconnected state to think, like Karen said, that everything is romanticized. Like you want to think it was the best of times when all of those things were happening, but we don't know that to be true. It's kind of like, people talk about using crystals for healing and that sort of thing. How would you know what crystal to use for what if that was true? You know what I mean? And like healing frequencies, we assume that they knew how to use frequencies for healing, but we don't know like what frequency would do what, right? We just don't know.
Have you ever
Well, no,
held?
I
because
don't
you've
know.
got your different colored chakras.
So much comes from the admission to yourself that you simply do not know these things.
You do. You
um,
do. I gotta jump in here.
Le-
If you hold, I've held quartz that has just had an overwhelming, peaceful, calming effect. Okay. I've held shit called moldavite that has almost pushed me off my balance. Like you can feel if you are willing to feel what they have to offer. Lev, nature will teach you, you know. And I think it's bullshit where they tell us, like, oh, crystals were formed billions of years ago under massive pressure. Garbage. I don't need to know where they're from. I know that when I touch them, they have an effect. And I know that people have studied it and you can retest it, you know? There's ways that you can engage with the vibration of these little entities, you know? We can physically engage with the energies of these crystals and semi-precious gems. And I got to stop you there, man. Children know. Children know the secrets until they lose their way. And children, I've worked with them. I've brought all my little stones in and they know there's certain ones they don't want to touch. There's certain ones that they don't want to let go of, you know? And even on a rudimentary level of not understanding what the heck they're doing, they're engaging with that energy. They're recognizing that frequency, that vibration, and they're connecting with it. And I think if you get really good at that, you can, you know, fine tune your intuition with those engagements. So I don't mean any disrespect, but I have personal experience working with these rocks.
Yes.
And I encourage you, go, like, even, you know, like a little guy like this. That's a smoky quartz, you know. We actually looked at the last solar eclipse through it. It made the perfect lens to, like, you know, kind of balance it out and see it despite the weather. But I mean, you can feel them, you know, you can feel it, like even just holding it right now in my hand. Sov will back me up 100%. Shungite is another mineral found in Russia, I believe, and measure you can put your phone on a piece of shungite and you can measure the available loose frequencies of your phone. The shungite will eat EMF. It will eat it. And when you read your phone without the shungite, it's at a certain level. And when you put your phone on the shungite, it goes right down. So we can visibly see also, as well as visibly feel the attributes of these semi-precious gems and minerals. But it's an art. It's
Well,
a
I don't
dedication.
argue that they're like I think they're even beyond that, like they're living things. They're living energies, if you will. It's just that for us to understand which ones to use for what, that's the thing. Right? We get a vague sense that they contain a sort of power and that they grow quickly. Like you said, they don't take millions of years. Some crystals you can watch form overnight. But it's like our understanding of what we could use each of those for. That's like I think will always be a mystery to us while we're here.
But there's people who've dedicated their life to learning about this and testing it. And from a general sense, you're they react with your intentions. And from what I've been able to ascertain from the years of studying about these living little shiny things, um, quartz is programmable. Quartz having all of the available color spectrum within it, is you can effectively use it, for any application. Okay. So, whereas like rose quartz vibrates more specifically on a resonance of love, right? But you can still use a plain old quartz to experience that resonance. It's it's not just a mystery. You know, there's tons of literature, of people's findings about these magic little beings, and what they do and how they can be healed. And color therapy, you know, just seeing a color like is a healing thing. You know, that's why they don't put prisoners in like blue or red walls, right? The blue is depressing. They're all killing themselves. Red makes everyone anger. It's the root chakra. It's like survival, right? So you'll get like prison cells with these like pretty pastel kind of, you know, non-assuming colors, ideally, um, for like color therapy. You know, it affects you just by being around um colors. I speaking sometimes for me, if I'm in a position where it's uncomfortable, I have used specific stones, you know, of the blue nature, you know, your throat chakra, you know, you it makes things come out. I should have one right now. It makes things come out easier. You know, you can combine them with, you know, like things like lavender. You know, I can access all of the knowledge I need to speak it well. You can put, sorry, I said lavender. I mean, oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. This stuff here. Someone, what's the purple one? I can't believe
Amethyst.
it's so stupid. Like, what are you?
Amethyst.
Mm,
Amethyst.
thank you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can. That was really embarrassing. That is a total boner move right there. Um, but you can use. I've used them remotely. I've used them remotely. Just thinking about a certain one that I have in my little area. You know, I've used. You can, if you close your eyes and think about it, you can feel them. Like it's this realm is magic. You know, it's not a concrete, you know, like court date kind of be all end all. I think it's highly malleable. I think nature will give you knowledge and tools, um, to get through it. You know, that's why we ground. That's why we put our bare feet in the dirt. You know, that's why we swim in streams and rivers, you know, because they're all healing. Sarah, love is in the earth. Well said. Yeah, amethyst. Don't tell anyone I forgot what amethyst was. That is stupid. That's like the first one you learn and the most common one you can find. My apologies. Yellow is the so you have red is your root, orange is your sacral, and then yellow is your like your gut, your instinct. Then you have green for your heart. You have blue for your throat. You have indigo for your third eye, and you have whatever one you want to call it, that lavendery kind of magenta-y, purpley, whatever you want to call it for your crown, right? So colors are like symbology, like everything else, you know, everything is applicable in a pattern here, which is why it would be ridiculous to stick to one book or one philosophy. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly just wanted to read some cards. I swear, if anyone doesn't have a question, I'm going to have to start asking silly ones. Anybody, anybody?
I was gonna ask Lev, like with this. Well, I don't know if we should go there. If you just want to read some cards,
Well, I don't generally. I got nothing pressing. Let me think here. Is there anything I need to know? What do I need to know? what? Let me think here. I don't know. Without getting too personal, I'm pretty happy in my life. I don't have any, daunting questions that are, make or break here. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. I always try to help. Usually, when people ask, they want help with something. So, or if they have something that's bothering them and they just were kind of like, oh, I did something or I said something. And I wonder if that person, is mad at me or if they forgive me or like things like that. It can help pour insight into things like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's a full moon kind of night. Let's go to the chat. Citrine is yellow. Citrine is actually amethyst that has been fired by heat or left in the sun. Ding ding. There you go. When do I get out? Good question. Where is this battle between flat earthers headed? Saddlebum. I will do my best. Where is it? What? That's a good one, actually. Where? Where do we go from here?
between flat earthers, like flat earthers, the other flat earthers.
Where is this battle? I would assume between flat earthers, the battle that they're experiencing, which by default would be globies. So I got two cards. One is movement. I don't know if you can see it. Like an ostrich. They're actually really beautiful. This ostrich has, oh my goodness. I don't know if you can see that. It actually has like the turtle shell that is representative of flat Earth. There's actually a little piece of land on the top of the ostrich. There's a hot air balloon. So there's a lot of clues that can come from that. There's a windmill. Um, Funny enough, it was inverted. So again, if I look that up, the 28 is movement reversed. So what does that say? So when it's reversed, it says, do you feel as if you're walking in circles, seemingly not getting anywhere? Consider the spiral that travels up and around. 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. Even backward movement helps you progress and reach your goal. You may need to revisit some of the places where you forgot to look for treasure. Another message is this: lessons need repeating for those who refuse or are unable to learn them the first time. Consider this another invitation to mastery. So that to me says it's speaking, it's like the now of the moment, right? There's, an importance of sharing the knowledge, which is not to say maybe ramming it down someone's neck when they don't want to hear it, but repetition, seed planting, and oh shit, what the fuck? Whew, that scared me. Sorry, I thought I lost everything. It's important to have the knowledge available. We're fighting that. People are not getting it the first time. We are walking in circles with these people. And so that is what we're dealing with. 44 is strength. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Holding a ball. Now, it doesn't look like the earth. It just looks like an orb. There's no patterns, but in the middle is like a tree, which I find highly hilarious because Lev was just talking about the trees. And that was an upright card. So we'll read that and then I'll see what the conclusion is here, if that helps at all. So it was upright. Your true strength comes not from self-reliance alone, but from a sincere faith in a higher power. The strength to accomplish even the most daunting tasks is yours at this time. You can connect with and channel the power of the universe. The strength card indicates that your ideas are being tested and refined, and your relationships are being deepened. No matter what happens, nothing can move you off the course of evolution. As the potency of your connections becomes more obvious, you're able to harness the creative energies that are available to you. Have courage and dive in, for magic is in the process of finding a form to take. When you remember that real strength comes from a combination of your efforts and reliance on a higher power working through you, all is possible. You can do anything now.
Funny how much that ties back into everything we talked about.
I'm here all night, kids. I'm going to read the question again. Where is the battle? The battle is real. The battle is not a battle. The battle is available. I think in a sense we're in a battle because, especially starting from the small circle, you want friends and family to kind of figure it out because, it's a connection, it's that stepping stone to God, right? As a creator, because the heliocentric model is the opposite of that. I think it's important that we're available. Sometimes we have to repeat ourselves. And I think anyone that's going to benefit from it is going to be in touch with their intuition and their connection to God and be available to that. I think it's a worthy fight. I use that term loosely, but I think honestly, it's worth doing. I think, any globies that are so in love with their balls, they're gonna be ball lovers forever, and that's what they're committing to, and that's their own, sacrifice, as it were. As Bro Sanchez would say, they definitely gonna reincarnate. I don't know. Maybe they'll get it on the next one. Maybe that's all you have to do here. But I think as flat earthers or, ball questioners, that it's worth doing. We're going to have to repeat ourselves. Some people aren't going to dig it, and some people are just going to dig it, and that is a gift that you give them. So excellent question. I hope that those two just jumped out, by the way. They picked them up off the floor. So that was good. That's what I'm talking about.
Awesome. Pretty wild.
Koresh, what do you mean by that? You're always thinking someone mad at you? You're not the kind of person that I can see pissing a lot of people off, though? Are you talking about me? Oh, if only you knew. Oh my goodness. ABC, Matt, welcome, guys. Do you have a question for the cards? Do you have a question for the panel? I will happily oblige both. if anyone else has some spooky stories that they've encountered through a thin veil, perhaps on a full moon, by all means, share it. Am I the only weirdo here that has weird shit go down?
No, I've had mad stuff happen. I've spoke about it sometimes, misheard and stuff like, but I suppose like astral projection, and when back in 1997, and I came across the AI world, like this machine race and all this kind of stuff like it. It's kind of like kind of like really really scary and stuff like it. And
Do you
uh,
go out of your way to astral project, Lev, or do you just find yourself doing it sometimes?
when I was younger, I used to try and uh, like literally try and do it, but I'd always end up falling asleep and then I'd have like a dream associated and stuff like. But in 2014, I made that train meditation. So like you follow a train and you kind of like you work on your peripheral vision, so you like look at the tracks. It's really easy to make a pattern, you know what I mean, and make it repeat, so you don't have to keep looking at the tracks. So when you're looking at the train, you can still see the tracks moving in a way. You know what I mean? So you do the same for walls and all that kind of stuff, like do it through underground so there's less light, makes it a bit easier. And then like as you follow, you do it for like 15 minutes. You've got to enjoy it, because like one aspect of like it's meditation. You should do this with all meditations, in the sense of like the gratification of like meeting spirit or connecting to spirit, right? Because that's like what it is. And it's like you should be really happy about that. You know what I mean? And that like that happy connection to it is part of the process. So it's like, to release that DMT or whatever it is. And another aspect is like when you're doing it and you're enjoying following the train or looking downside and going down corners, because 15 minutes is quite a while in a way. My brother won't phone at times, so it's kind of like it will like easy to just sit there and do it. You know what I mean? So I just distracted myself by doing that, and it would, like, in terms of like exercising the third eye. You know what I mean? In terms of practicing to decalcify and all these kind of things and stuff like, I'd just quit fluoride like about a month before or something. So yeah, one aspect of like the mind, it goes into autopilot and you forget what you're doing, and then you realize that you've been thinking about like when you're going to do a washing up or whatever, and it's like, oh, and I'm supposed to be meditating. So you bring yourself back onto it, right? And this will happen a few times, but at some point when your mind wanders off, instead of thinking about the washing up or whatever, you'll literally be seeing like another world, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? You're astral projecting, but you're not leaving the body. So it's like you're remote viewing your astral projection in a way, which is like, it's really good, because like rather than trying to leave your body and all these kind of things, it's a little bit scary. And and if it only works when you fall asleep, then it's so easy to pass it off as just a dream or such, but when you're awake and you're experiencing it, that's really, really good. It's like you can freely look around and like see all the giant trees and all these kind of things, or landscapes and stuff. Um,
So Lord Racer wants to know if you've ever dreamt a dream with uh, a cell phone in it.
no, I don't think I have.
No.
No. Oh, why is he asking that? It made me think of Matrix.
Here's a
They've
theme
always got a phone, haven't they?
worthy of
Eh?
mentioning, though, repeatedly, and I don't know if I'm the only one. Maybe it's my age showing, but more than 5 times in my life, I've had a dream, and now something important is happening, and now all of a sudden I'm on the phone and I'm trying to dial the number, and it's taking forever, and I put my finger in it and I pull it all the way up and I watch it go brrr, and then I do it again and I'm almost done the number, and then I fucking hit the wrong number. Boop. Start over. Ugh. Did anyone else have that frustrating dream? So rotary phones, yes. Cell phones, never. But rotary phones, lots of times.
I can't remember seeing any phones
It's
in my
never
dreams.
good. Okay, so you do the keypad mash, beep boop, beep boop, and still bung it up, eh, Sarah? Just as equally frustrating, I suppose, but oh man. Um I was watching a gentleman who's quite proficient at astral projecting, Lev. And he does it like in dream state. And there's a lot of people that spend a lot of good time not sleeping, trying to achieve that state. And if I could bestow onto anyone who is trying to do that, what he said, and I'm still playing around with it, is the best time to have that waking dream where you go, you're like as you described, you're out and you're remote viewing, you can see things, you can go, and you're aware that you're dreaming at the same time, is not when you go to bed. It's if you go to bed and you sleep 4 to 6 hours and then you wake up, and then he says to spend about 10 minutes just sitting up, not like talking or smoking or watching your phone or anything, just being awake and still quiet for about 10 minutes. And then you go back to bed. And the key is refuse, because apparently your body instinctively wants you to twitch and itch and move and shift and da. So it's like the dance. You have to ignore the impulse to do all of those physical movements and also keep the thinking brain going. So he says count, but not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like just a very slow 1, 2, like you're cognitively aware of the number that you're saying, the next number you're going to say. And if you can keep in stillness and keep the thinking mind just viable enough, then you can feel it. Like it feels a little greasy. And then what he says is when you feel that kind of disconnect from your thoughts and your body, then you imagine yourself rolling out of bed. And what more often than not, if you're successful, your physical body stays in one place and your waking dream body will then now be remotely viewing the sleeping you. And, let's get ready to rumble. I guess what you do after that is up to you at that point. But that's something that I've been messing around with. I haven't had much luck with it. I've come close, but I've only ever once in my life experienced a time where, and it came with, because generally speaking, I'm like, what do you call it? Clairaudient. I will hear like that voice, just go in, but this one particular time, and it was like, I was awake, like you said, and I had this profound noticing that I could see everything around me at once. It was like two conscious awarenesses. I could use my eyes to look and see what, like how I normally do, but then I could also, with my mind's eye, I could see in 360 degrees. And when I chose that perspective, I actually saw like a guy in my friend's living room who wasn't there, but he was there, and he was pecking at me, and not physically, but like really making it known that he wanted my attention. And I guess I was just not in the mood and I was just trying to ignore it. But I kept seeing in 360. And I don't know if that was something that I was doing or my connection to, white t-shirt guy was facilitating, but finally I'd had enough and I was just like, all right. So I said to my friend, there's a dude in your living room. I described him. He's quite annoying and he wants me to let you know that he's here. And after some back and forth, I described him. Then I could start to hear what white t-shirt guy was saying. He was like, it was like he was yelling it. Like it was like he was yelling it through the ether. So all I could hear was like little faint, like it was like he was saying, Francie, Francie, Francie. Like it was really kind of fucked up, for lack of better terms. But when I was saying that, after I described this guy to my friend, his face went white and he was like, oh my God. Ask him if it's Frankie. And the second my friend said that, white t-shirt guy was like, yes, yes. And I was like, he's very happy to tell you yes. And that, I guess his cousin had passed away within the last couple of years and decided at that moment to interfere on my winning dice game. Anyways, that's kind of the stuff, but that's the only time I've been able to see like that and see, another entity. But I don't think that's astral projection, but the veil is thin.
Like clairvoyance. That sounds like, isn't it?
It would be. Clairvoyance would be with voy, right? Your eyes. Clairaudient. I think there's like clairsentient is a knowing where I'm a little bit of that too. I just know. Like I've known things by way of accident. I've thought I was saying the right thing, but I've just blurted out what was actually then later to be determined the truth, like someone's name, right? Like I thought her name was whatever the hell, and I said Terry or something by accident, but then it turns out that was actually her name. Things like that. I think there's two more I'm not aware of, but I guess it would be something tangible, like you can feel. You can feel knowingly. Yeah, I'm in too deep on this one, but
Psychometry, like touching objects and you get a knowledge of the object through its history and all that kind of stuff by touching it.
Would that be it then? Okay. Whoa, Lord Racer. That is a coinky dink right there. Lord Racer says, I always wear a white tee with a white undershirt almost every day. His brother is Frank. I don't know what to tell you, man. I could go on. I won't wear it. Oh, you guys are legends. I am so humbled and honored to see you guys all here hanging out on a full moon eclipse, northern light evening. So thank you. That's awesome. Soups, are you still hanging in there with us?
I am still here. I'm muted because my air conditioner came on and I wasn't sure if it would disrupt or whatever. So I've been just partying with
I thought you
you
were
in mind and spirit.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you. Oh, well, let's see here now. Yeah, I don't know. I could do this for days. I've had so much weird shit go down in my reality. It started at a very young age too. Like when my Opa died, I was 5. And I think that was the first time that I had entities come to me. I think it was my Opa, but because I was so young, but I loved him. He was like my favorite person. But it spooked me a little bit. And I think for a few years, I got good at putting the guard up, like it was like, no. And then I I hate to say it, but probably in my wild and crazy days, maybe getting a little too, in my cups, perhaps. You let your guard down a bit or you second guess yourself. But I think that's when I starting to kind of loosen up again, and I don't rely on that for these experiences because they have happened in complete and total sobriety as well. But that was kind of a tipping point, no pun intended, to, remember that I had that ability. But uh, I don't know.
It's
I just,
quite
I always
rare as
wonder, I
well.
mean, is it just me or does everyone have these experiences? I don't know.
No, I think a lot of people have got like different abilities. You know what I mean? You might be better at clairvoyance, where somebody might be better at psychometry, say, and you know, um, we've all got different qualities in that way. But I think we've all got it a little bit. It's just that there's so much propaganda, the age that we're in with all the government and all this kind of stuff, like, these 5G towers and chemtrails, etc., TV, suppressing your senses and all that kind of stuff. But it makes it difficult for people to even realize that, that anybody's got any psychic ability. Even thought is psychic ability, isn't it? You know?
You're probably not, and that's probably, that's so, you're probably correct there. Like they're interfering on some level. I can say that without too much attachment that there's a reason why, every time they introduce a new technology, like even radio frequency, wasn't that supposed to be like the Spanish flu once they started using, like they turned on the radio waves and everyone got sick and they're like, it's the Spanish flu. Meanwhile, they're just slowly like eroding our abilities to connect to these innate gifts and talents,
All
and
right.
now we're just bombarded from like every angle. And then they pollute you,
That's a
like you said,
fact.
pineal gland calcified from fluoride and all the other shit they put in water and stuff and food. Like, it's disgusting.
Well, I just went outside and checked that eclipse. It's like 90%. It's pretty much, it's like turned to red.
What? All right, let's go. Hey, go. Let's go. I'm gonna go for a little funky adventure here. Let's see what I can see. Oh, no way. All right. Let's see if I can do this here. Do not fall down the stairs. What am I going to do? This? Oh, right. It's not a touch screen. Hold on here, guys. There it is. Okay. Just bear with me here. I'm going to use the light of the screen so that I don't wipe out. And, bugger. Trees. All right. We'll go for a little bit of a walk anyways.
Where we're going.
I
Oh,
guess that's
just
as
got
good
to
as
see
it
it.
gets.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can't
think
zoom
I...
while you're on StreamYard.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, that is pretty cool, though. That is really cool, though. Wow. Okay. I like honestly, if you guys all nip out for like 5 minutes just to go behold that, that's pretty incredible. That is really incredible. I'm glad I came out. That is really cool.
It's like the top edge right there. The top, yeah, is like bright white, and the rest of it's like red, reddish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild stuff. I've seen a million eclipses. That's good enough right there for me. That'll do till
It
next
was
week.
like this past winter, I went out and looked at the last lunar eclipse. I was freezing my butt off. It was like 6 a.m. right at sunrise, and then right as it like got eclipsed, a bunch of clouds rolled in and blocked it. I was doing a live stream.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened to the solar eclipse last couple Marches ago. But there wasn't a brief period where it did clear enough and was able to clap my eyes on it. So I think it's important, that we observe these celestial events to some degree. Like, I don't know. I think, I don't believe I can reconcile maybe that there's some benefit to, putting your eyes on something and beholding it. Like, again, learning from nature, right? There's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of message available to those with eyes to see, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to understand, isn't there? I've got some books on the moon, but I've not read them yet. I've got loads of books I've not read.
Yeah. Wacky
But
world.
it's like all the spiritual concepts with it and stuff. And I made a video about like the moon, like they said that the sun and moon causes the tides, right? And one of the arguments is like that it's gravity doing it, right? But if the moon pulls on the emotions and the ocean is the emotions, then it pulls on it on an energetic level, and then that's why it affects humans as well and animals and such.
It has to. There's something supremely visceral about being in its energy. Like,
Like in tarot, water's emotion, isn't it?
sorry, I'm just replying. Say that again, Lev.
Like in tarot, like water, that represents the energy of the emotions.
See, that's what I
So,
don't know. I don't know. I'm a tarot idiot here. Like, I have the dum beginner.
well, it's a spiritual concept rather than tarot, but tarot, you know, kind of uses a lot of spiritual concepts to like, explain things and stuff. Like, it's like different aspects of life. You know what I mean? It's similar to
Well,
oracle cards, but
tarot is a regimented. They've got different houses, right? And within each house, like, there's the cups, wands,
cups is water.
cups,
Cups is
wands,
water because cups hold water.
swords.
If you give a
Then
cup of
there's
love to somebody,
pentacles is another. Pentacles, cups, sword, wands, and then there's like Knight of Swords. Like, if it gets really like categorized, so it's very regimented, and each thing means this. So it's like if you apply, the wand meaning with the number meaning, and you get it with another card, like, the famous death card, which is then there's Hierophant. There's like I really am not the Lover's card. Like, there's specific individual ones. The Chariot, Strength. I don't know what any of it means, honestly. I've just been a freelance, kind of figure it out as I go. I never really got into these, honestly. I got them to kind of force myself to learn those specific things, but I never did. So there you have it. But they do a cool yes, no, maybe on these ones. Ask me a yes or no question.
Is the moon
trash ever
its
figure
own
out
like
is. Yes. I got nothing. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here in another cool 15. We'll end it at 1 a.m. Canadian time here in Ontario. We've been going for 2 hours, so I don't even know if StreamYard, because I'm just freebie mooching off StreamYard. They might actually just cut me off any minute. If that's the case, I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming. If not, I'm gonna, like I said, maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes, just
yeah. I, I think
push
I'm gonna
them
hop up
behind.
now, but I just wanted to ask Love, like with your tree trunk, whatever it is, model of the Earth, like how did humans? Is it creation or evolution in this model that you have? I just wanted to ask you before I left.
Creation. Um,
So
in
that's
terms
how I
of
was learned. It's
evolution,
just like a creator of, and he created. Go ahead. What?
it's like Earth's like a giant chakra. It expanded and contracted until it made the realm, basically. So when we get the Taurus field, we'll get that's like a giant chakra. Well, you don't have to have a giant one, but oh, it makes a plane in the center, so that's why it's a flat Earth. But when it heated and contracted and such, that's how it made the dome. So it must have kind of created sand or something in that kind of way and stuff like. And then um, you just had
Dang
water and
it.
sunlight from that plants grew, and then it kind of it was more like a swamp to begin with, and then eventually it kind of started to form land masses and stuff kind of thing. Uh, Simply through vegetation, but like when the trees were growing so abundantly, I kind of like describe it like like a balloon, right? And you've got like all the air in one side of it. Um, and once you'll start to let it out, it just wants to flood out. So that's like, in terms of like spirit wanting to breathe life into the world, that's what kind of almost happened. So it's like, the giant trees and stuff like, there would be one main mother tree, and then like, that it kind of expanded in that kind of way and stuff like. So in terms of like the land masses, the trees grew outwards, and then they grew trunks. It the series kind of shows it a bit better than me explaining it. Because you got like examples of it and stuff like that, and you can see how it kind of worked and all that kind of stuff, like how it was formed and stuff.
So,
But then,
so we were just we were created like in one day's time, or because that was my main point. But you said, yeah, we were created, but not through evolution. We were just there at some point.
no, with the giant trees, and once it became like a utopia, see, like the forest is like a brain, like the brain network of it, all the mycelium and all these kind of things. Um, that's basically like spirit's consciousness. So when you see like the sunlight and water, and you see all those cymatic patterns that shine through, and it like on sand underwater and stuff, and you can see patterns at the surface of water as the sun goes through in that way. That's the same pattern as like the root network, but it's the communication between the sunlight and water, because water's got memory and the sun's conscious as well. So then, like, because of that, how it's reproduced it, like the sacred technology. So that heart brain network of the forest is literally connected to spirit. It is like, that's the physical representation of it in this world. So how we got here is like the sunlight shining through the water, all that information, which light is information, and then into the consciousness of the ocean, the memory of that, because water's got memory. Then when the plants use that water, and then they create things like fruit, vegetables, and stuff like that. But we had a forest which was capable of a utopia, so it were able to provide for life. So now we've only got life which goes extinct. But when we had the giant forest, that's when life were abundant. And so it's like, what I mean? We probably could eat off at trees and not use animals and all that kind of stuff, because this dark age that we've been in, what I mean, since it's been cut down and all that kind of stuff, it's been like survival. What I mean? People have had to settle and try and rebuild and all these kind of things. Um, you imagine like when the Great Fire were, it's like the amount of people which will have died. like the amount of smoke which will be in air. It's like you look at one volcano, and that's like the remains of a giant tree. It's like the boiling sap is like still the lava which is inside it, and it's like, you know, all the tree roots and stuff like that kind of thing, all the lava tunnels. It's like where it's burnt it all out. So you can see how far those lava tunnels can go for like thousands of miles and stuff like so um going back into like, you know, when it were a utopia and stuff. So like we were born out of flowers, and like, you know, my first episode I kind of like showcase like giant flowers and all these kind of things and giant leaves, etc. It's an example of like potential for like the giant trees. You know, people that didn't believe and all that kind of thing, seeing as it were like first episode, but we were like massively hinting towards where the series were going, because it's like, you know, like the vibrancy of life within these plants and what it's showing you and stuff like that, and how big they are and all that kind of thing. So it's like how much potential that these plants did give off life that way. And then when you compare it to like insects and all these kind of things, and like their reproductive system compared to like a grass seed and stuff like that kind of thing, and on inside and not like with a microscope and stuff, and the same. It's like it looks exactly the same. Um, so it's like our relationship with plants. It's much more significant than we've ever realized. You know what I mean? When you look at like mainstream science and stuff like that, it's like it's almost like it's never been questioned. You know what I mean? That we came from the plant.
I'm sorry to throw you on a giant rant. I didn't know because of all the hours we've spent talking about this. I'd never ask you about that particular thing, but that's what I was thinking of
Yeah,
earlier. But
that's a lot of like first
thanks,
series. What about?
thanks, Aaron, for letting me talk tonight, and I'll see you guys soon.
Oh, Chris,
I want to
thank
show you
you.
a water series, Chris. Like
What?
the water, like the series 4,
Oh,
Waves of
yeah,
Love.
yeah,
It
yeah.
shows you how the anatomy is formed on
I've
everything and
seen
stuff
it,
like
man. Yeah, you're always around, man. I'll see you soon.
that. All right,
Thanks for
nice.
coming up, Chris.
Yeah, see you, man. See you, Aaron. Bye, guys.
Well, thank
Nice
you.
one.
So I was moved to pull yet another card, Lev, when you were describing those trees and the, you know, function of them in the world. And I got the sacred pool, which I don't know if anyone's into numerology, is 47. But right off the hop. And I think again, like the cards, I love this deck. They always have something pertinent to say and thought provoking. And on the subject of what you were saying about, you know, the formation of the trees and their connection to us, um, right away, this card says, the world is a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Embody the love you wish to see in the world, you know? Perhaps these trees were like training wheels. Perhaps we can still have that connection. And we just have to go inward and, you know, see that as a reality so that we can become it, you know, so that we can remind that, you know, like we have every single person. Yes, I'm talking about globies too. We have more in common than we don't. And we forget that sometimes in this, you know, dialectic world of, you know, red, blue, up, down, left, right, yes, no. It can be beautiful. It can be connective. It can be unified. It can be, you know, a representation of God or our creator, or however you want to wish to describe it. You know, we get to see what we choose while we're here in this sacred pool. I don't know. It was fun. I hope you guys next time if you're gonna come up on the card pulling show, you better have some questions next time, people. I think
Yeah.
just leaving
We
me
need
hanging here,
topics to think.
talking shit about nothing. No, that was a delight. I don't know how often I can do this. I don't know how many people I can have up at a time, but I sure am glad you guys all joined me tonight. That was awesome. Anytime there's a void in YouTube land, if I can fill it and you guys are here to join me, that just makes my day. It's
Yippee.
strange to be on this side, you know. But so many familiar faces, so many good vibes, beautiful people. I consider you all friends. You know, I think we all know each other in the ether somewhere. We've all sat at the ether bar smoking darts and sipping consciousness cocktails going, can you believe that? Whoa, that was messed up. And then one time I was doing live stream. uh, thank you guys. Thank you, Sarah, Lord Racer, Karesh. It's more fun to type than it
Pebbles.
is to say. But Soups, Chris, Lev, oh Pebbles, of course. My God, mein Gott in Himmel. How could I forget? I'm on a debilitated lappy toppy here. Kane, Saddle Bum, Sarah G, beautiful people, Skeptic, Matt. Ooh, I gave Matt goosebumps with my spooky story. Hope you can
Mr.
sleep
David
okay tonight.
Koresh.
Angela, Peter, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And Sri Swami Hakananda. Can you pick a more difficult name for me to say, please, next time? I thank you. I'll say it one last time. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to share a little screen with you two and everybody else. So we'll catch you guys on the flip. And I just see you all very well and full of love and peace. That's my intention for every single one of you. So thank you one
Just
last
glow.
time. And I don't know if you guys have check out Lev's channel. If you haven't, he touches on quite a bit of what we were talking about tonight. It's again, it's a humbling endeavor. This guy's got some deep waters flowing. And Soups, of course, my gosh, check out his channel. He's got the music in him. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the flip. Unless there's something else you guys
We love
have
you,
to
Heron
say.
Song. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh, I love you guys.
Lev.
I'll always join.
Always good hanging with you, Lev.
Yeah, bang on.
All right. Well, I don't have an outro, so I don't know. I guess we'll think about chickens telling us to shut the fuck up and biscuits. There you go. You can sing the songs yourself.
It's not that I don't want to hear you, just sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. We'll go out on that. All right. Good night.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Catch you later. Nice one, Mr. Super Sidewinder. It's been good chatting. I'll catch you in a bit.
Yeah, this was phenomenal, Lev. See you, brother. See y'all.